Hello and welcome to the channel, everyone. This is going to be a bonus video. We're going to be doing a channeled message today for the Lunar Eclipse in Taurus. I'm going to connect to my team. We're going to pull 4 cards from the deck, and then afterwards we're going to pull some oracle cards, one from the Everyday Witch and one from the Making Magic set. And we're gonna just see together what messages that they have for us all as a collective for this lunar eclipse in Taurus. So let me just get ahead. You have 4 cards, please, team. All right, let's see what we got. We have the 7 of Wands, Temperance. How fitting, the sun and the moon is in this card and it's an eclipse. The moon. It's the moon showing up for the lunar eclipse reading. That's fun. Just move these around a little bit. And our last card, the 5 of Swords. All right. Now let's see what these cards have to say to us. Okay, so now that we got the cards placed how I like them, let's take a look and see what the message is for us all for this eclipse. Now, normally I don't go by the book, but with this, the Lightseer's Tarot, this is another one of those books that has some cool like little sayings in it, and the meanings are, I wouldn't say different. I mean, it's still like each card, but it's got a unique spin to each one. So I just want to go real quick through the book on each of the cards to kind of help get the energy for us all. And then we'll kind of piece them together as things come to the surface. But just for right now, I'm going to start with, of course, we're going to start with the 7 of Wands. So right here on the left, this guy here, this is technically our energy card. If we were doing like a weekly reading, but just this card here can kind of be like the energy overall for this eclipse. Okay, so the big thing I wanted to show is actually, see how like that has like little like sayings down here in the bottom? I like these, so I just want to go over each one of these. So for the 7 of Wands, it says, "I'm deserving of this success, and I will bravely shine my light into the world." And so this card, this deck, which is cool about this deck, is it has, of course, reversed and upright meanings, but they don't call it that. They call it Light Seer and, excuse me, and Shadow Seer. And as you'll see with Temperance, it kind of bridges the two, which is cool. But just real quick, we'll go over the meanings of each one. So the 7 of Wands normally, before I read, the 7 of Wands normally is about a card about standing out and being unique. It can be a card that's on the defensive, right? Because there's 6 wands coming at the person. In this case, she's not holding a wand. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, all 7 are pointed at her. I think in the traditional Rider Waite, the person's holding one of the wands, but it doesn't matter. And their person is on high ground. So it's like, basically, it's like a card of like it's in defense mode, but you're separated from the rest, right? You stand out, you're unique. Yes, you might need to be like defensive in the sense of like guarding yourself or protecting, but it's nothing like that's overly like in mortal danger or anything. This card is kind of cool because it shows the person like in a bubble, like where those wands can't quite get to them. So the meaning for this card from this book is challenge, which is normally there. Grounding and protecting yourself. No, protecting, yes, but grounding is interesting. Movement and growth, creative innovation, remaining ahead, feeling vulnerable, which, yeah, could be because, you've got 6 people trying to get at you. A sign to continue to share your ideas and self-expression. So a couple of those were unique that I've never seen before, but the rest of it's quite on. But basically the message of being deserving of the success, like that's a pretty cool energy. So for this eclipse, you could say the energy is being brave and deserving and standing out. Like, don't be afraid to stand out. So now we go to the next guy, Temperance. Now, this is where I said it was cool, because Temperance is a card that is about balance and is about duality. It's representing Sagittarius in the zodiac. And Sagittarius in the ninth house, they're known for spiritual and higher education and like philosophy, and think like big picture spirituality and not like little details. That's ruled by its counterpart, Gemini. But Sagittarius is big, bold, expansive ideas, right? Its ruling planet is Jupiter. It's big, it's expansive, right? This sign is known for like higher education and like mystery schools and like occult knowledge and stuff like that. So, being that this card is about spirituality, it's pretty cool though in this deck to see that what they chose to say is like bridging the two worlds, right? Of light seer and shadow seer. So basically upright and reversed. This card kind of stands in both. Now it's really kind of cool. Let me bring it a little closer. This is an eclipse reading, right? So eclipses happen when the sun, the moon, and the earth get into a particular alignment to make either a solar or lunar eclipse. This person has both the sun and the moon, and it's kind of showing like a balance between the two. And normally this card would have an angel standing in water and an angel, and then 1 foot in water, 1 foot on land, showing that they're in both worlds. This person has the sun and the moon, and it says, "I walk the middle path, and I nourish my spiritual wholeness." So that's, to me, that's really cool. It's like walking like the gray path. Like it's not completely in the light, right, with the sun. It's not completely in the dark with the moon. They have a little bit of both. And honestly, that's how you need to go about life. Now, I'm not saying like darkness isn't evil, right? I'm not talking about good and evil here. Dark and light, like light and shadow, I guess as they call it. Talk about wholeness, right? You've got light parts to yourself in your conscious awareness, and you've got shadow parts to yourself in your unconscious awareness. And it's about coming together as a whole unit, as one person or even as a collective, and acknowledging and nourishing the shadow sides while also keeping your light side in check, because an inflated light side could lead to egos way out of balance, which in turn creates more wounded shadow side. So you need to have a balance. And the known energy of this card, if we're going to talk on a maybe world stage more, or just for the collective in terms of like what's going on in all of our lives, that this eclipse, the energy that this eclipse wants to bring, is one of balance, right? The world's been, as we can see, you don't need to look far, the world's been out of balance. And Temperance here specifically wants to bring a new spiritual wholeness and a new path that walks the middle ground. And you're going to need to be bold, you're going to need to be unique, you're going to need to stand out with it. So this is a new, maybe not necessarily fully new idea, but this is one where it's about being ourselves, so about being whole, about being unique, and walking that middle path and getting that spiritual wholeness and that nourishment that we all greatly needed. And then we go to our next friend here, right here in the, fittingly, it's in the unconscious or unknown position, and it's the moon. Now the moon rules the unconscious, it rules the emotions. As you can see, there is a white dog and a black dog up there representing the two pillars, and someone deep under the waves as there is a full moon. Now normally the moon would talk about confusion and illusion and uncertainty, but I think it has a few meanings, being that one, it's a lunar eclipse, so I find it funny that Spirit is throwing the moon out there because it's lunar energy, and I just find it funny that they put it out there. But it is about unconsciousness, it is about psychic ability and intuition and subtle energies. I don't necessarily see, we'll get to that Five of Swords over there in the corner at the end of this, but I don't necessarily see anything here that's big and loud and in your face. In terms of energy, this seems to be a little bit more of a quiet eclipse. I mean, it makes sense. It's in Taurus. Jupiter's right there, and it'll help out Venus. It'll help out the moon. You know, the moon's exalted in Taurus. The moon loves being in Taurus. It's quite powerful there. It's quite stable and steady. So it doesn't surprise me that I'm not getting any like bombastic energies. There's nothing like overly dramatic. This is much more, I mean, it's the moon's territory, so it's much more subtle and intuitive and emotional, right? So emotions might be high, and that's probably why they're saying, you know, we need to make sure that we ground this week because, or with this eclipse, because, you know, emotions could be a little high. It's a full moon, which already causes emotions to spike, but then it's getting eclipsed. So that's the power source. That's the luminary. That's the one that controls our body and our emotions. And when a luminary goes out, it's like a power surge. It's like, you know, one of the breakers popped, and now you're sitting in the dark. We don't have that light source in the sky anymore. So it's all about, you know, taking it easy and making sure that you keep balance in your life. With this eclipse, you know, don't overdo something on either end of the spectrum. There's too much of a good thing on both ends, but also about making sure you take care of yourself and making sure that you put yourself first. And yes, you know, I'm not saying to like not do your responsibilities. You know, you can't just not live your life because an eclipse is coming, but it's about taking care of yourself on a personal note. But on a world stage, or a collective stage, I should say, this is about spiritual upgrading, which isn't new here. If you've seen any of the readings recently, especially I think the solar eclipse one, I believe, this isn't the first time that Spirit is giving me messages about spiritual upgrading. And as you'll see, the moon card here, I think, kind of touches on that a little bit more. So I'm going to read this for you real quick. It says, I am safe, and I reach new levels of unconscious knowing as I surrender to the will of the universe. Right? So this card is about uncertainty and unknown, not knowing things and unconscious. But this isn't a card where the person's afraid, right? They're not afraid with this moon card. They're not worried and anxious. This person, right away, it says, I am safe, right? So they're already content. Yes, they're underwater, and yes, it's a full moon. And right, it's in the subconscious, so we can't tangibly touch this. But they know they're safe. And it says that they're growing, right? They're not only safe, they're thriving. I reach new levels of unconscious knowing, right? Psychic awareness and power as I surrender to the will of the universe. Right, the universe is working itself out. And I think that it's talking about becoming our true selves, being unique, standing apart from the crowd, having that spiritual wholeness and balance, and then growing psychically in our intuitions as we come more fully into ourselves. And it says, you know, the meanings, you know, of course, illusion and hidden truths, right? So this eclipse, definitely on the world stage, could bring about some truths that have been hidden for way too long. Facing the unknown, right? Because it's the moon, it rules things that are unknown. It's in the unknown position. Trusting your intuition, facing your fears, the watery nature of the unconscious mind, mystery, symbolism and metaphor, perception, uncertainty, and dreams. Yeah, so definitely like watch your dreams, because the moon does rule the dream world. You might have some weird dreams, or Spirit might come and communicate communicate to you through dreams. There we go. Also, the veil is really, really, really thin right now. We're super close to Samhain. It's literally next Tuesday. This coming up Tuesday. It's literally in a couple days. So the veil is thin, right? You might get messages from spirits. You might get messages from past loved ones. You might get messages from the universe. You know, just watch your dreams, and maybe leave like a notepad, or like have your notes app on your phone ready or something. because we tend to forget our dreams really, really fast after we wake up. So, or even like a voice recorder, just like start a voice memo and just say everything you could remember. One, that'll train your brain to remember dreams. It'll trigger your brain to say, hey, these are important. That way, if you are ever getting any messages, you can remember them. And it will help grow your psychic ability. It'll help grow that psychic muscle to maybe even eventually to the point where you could start lucid dreaming and even astral traveling, at will. But, it starts with remembering the dreams, and the messages could definitely be coming from spirit through dreams this week for a lot of us. So let's keep a look at that, especially around this eclipse. Now, the last card here that we need to take a look at before we get into the oracles is this Five of Swords. Now, fives are usually about a challenging energy, and you can see this person here isn't the happiest. There's like a couple birds in the background. Somebody back there quite happy. At least their arms are outstretched. But this bird is like chatting into this guy's ear, and it's making him quite uncomfortable. But the lesson here, because fives are about challenges, about growth, about lessons. And if it's a bad situation, which fives tend to be on the more negative side of things, they're not doom and gloom, though, fives. Because it's not a 10. It's only a 5. It's there to, like, irritate or challenge. And this is going to be the outcome of this whole eclipse energy. Now, the little thing here says that lessons move me ahead, as always. So this is about learning lessons. It's about learning challenges. It's about, I don't know if I want to say spiritual testing. Because everybody has a different life plan, a different spiritual contract, etc. But, these are lessons that we are all learning. And this is a big one that Spirit wants us to go with. Now, if we do the meanings here, we have conflict, unfair advantage, experiencing loss, the need to build your skills and confidence, and hollow victories. So it's a very meh kind of card, right? It can talk about conflict, it can talk about loss, but it does talk about needing to build skills and confidence, right? Which is, again, building skills can go back to building, going through that irritation that gets us to build our psychic power and build our psychic abilities. And also, we might need to let some things go, right? We've been talking about this for so long with these eclipses, that, especially the last eclipse, the solar eclipse, about letting things go so new things can come through. So if we take them together, right, it's all about learning the lessons that move us ahead. The things that we've completed, we can leave behind, and the things that we need to learn are what we need to focus on, right? This isn't here to, be a pain. This is here to help you to grow. And I feel like that's what Spirit's trying to say for all of us this week with these cards. So let's go get some oracle cards. I'm gonna pull a card from the Everyday Witch set, and then from the Making Magic set, and we'll see if Spirit has to add anything, or sometimes they double down with the oracle card. So let's see what we get. All right, so the card that we have from this set is called Cleansing Body and Spirit. So this one, I feel like they're going to kind of go more with the grounding energy that we were getting from the first set, being the Seven of Wands right here. And now we're going to pull one from Making Magic. All right, Goddess, healing feminine energy. The camera wants to focus on it. There it goes. I think you guys got it. Stick that right there. All right. Now, I feel like it's kind of a repeat a little bit of what we've said, but we're going to focus a little bit more specifically on the themes of cleansing. Now, the Seven of Wands here, when we first read through it, this one was talking about grounding, right? Grounding and centering. And I feel like Spirit is kind of doubling down on that with this cleansing body and spirit. I feel like Spirit is definitely saying, take this time, cleanse yourselves off, take a bath, like physically. Like I would, if you don't have a bathtub or you don't like baths, take a shower, something. Do something to physically cleanse your aura, physically cleanse your body, get rid of all that spiritual miasma, cleanse yourself on multiple levels. Emotionally cleanse, cry if you have to, get angry if you have to, process the emotions that are hidden there, right? The sun's in Scorpio now, so it's going to be pulling up all these hidden emotions, all those things that are deep and buried beneath the surface that need to come out and be cleansed and be healed and be balanced. And so that requires some maintenance on our behalf. So take a shower. Not necessarily one where it's like you just get cleaning and you get out. Like really focus on the water washing away all of that spiritual gunk that's piled up, all that psychic energy that's just not useful anymore, all of the emotional energy that's just stagnant. Wash that all away. Get a good cry out. Get a good scream out. Like scream into a pillow if you have to. Process your emotions. Do whatever it takes to ground and center yourself that way. And then a nice spiritual cleansing. And you can do that however you want. You can use, selenite. You can use, you go out and hug a tree. You can use sound. Go into YouTube and type in like cleansing bells or like, cleansing sounds, and just give yourself a good sound bath, to reset and to ground and to center. And I find it kind of fitting here. Let's talk about this goddess energy here for a second. The goddess energy rules traditionally in the West. It rules the moon. And you can see she has the triple moon. So this one is doubling down on the moon card, where it's talking about healing the feminine energy. Now, this could be male or female, right? It's not gender specific in terms of people listening. Feminine isn't as an energy, it's as a perception of energy. So feminine energy is that ruled by the moon. It's receptive, it's intuitive, it's psychic, it's emotional. It's much more like watery and earthy if we're going to talk elemental. On the opposite side, it's masculine energy. It's projective instead of receptive. Instead of intuitive, it makes force. It brings things in. It's aggressive. Think fire, think air. It's very logical instead of intuitive. It thinks and it does. It doesn't necessarily feel. Not that it can't feel, but on its most extreme ends, it's in your face doing, where feminine is receptive and slower and intuitive. She does things by feeling, where he does things by thought and by action. So when this is saying to heal feminine energy, this to me is doubling down on the fact that this lunar eclipse, right, is a feminine energy eclipse because it's ruled by the moon, and here in the West we call the moon feminine. But really, the sun and the moon have both feminine and masculine qualities. But in this sense, Spirit is really thundering down on the goddess energy. This isn't the first time that goddess energy has come through one of these readings. I think that goddess energy is coming in to help center and to heal and rebalance and help us grow spiritually and help us develop these psychic abilities. But first we need to do some healing. We need to heal ourselves and heal the parts of ourselves, and not even on a world collective, that channels feminine energy. We've shut that down way too much as a society that favors and really runs by and is trained, even from a young age, to run by, especially here in the West, to run off masculine energy, off of logic, off of action, off of you have to do these things and you have to do it this way. And we're taught from a young age to turn off our imagination, to turn off our psychic ability, to not trust our gut, to lose these psychic powers and perceptions because they don't exist, or they're make-believe, or you're crazy if you touch those. Because they know and they're afraid that if we are whole, right, if we have our full psychic faculties to us and are adept in those powers. We know our worth and our power. We know how to make action in the world, but yet at the same time, we're whole with our goddess selves. Right? Male or female does not matter. Guys have goddess energy too. Right? Just as girls have god energy, we have both energies within us. If we were fully powered in our goddess energy and our psychic power, they could never lie to us. They could never pull anything over us. We would always be able to psychically intune truth from lie. We would be able to see the best timeline for us. We would be able to see everybody as they are, and we wouldn't be in a fight or flight moments that we constantly are in this world. So with this lunar eclipse, I feel like the channeled message coming through here that Spirit wants us all to know is, yes, to take care of yourself and to ground and to center and to do all those things to watch your energy, because it is an eclipse. But the energy here, the lesson here, is one of a spiritual nature. Now, that might be hard for some of us because you can't touch spiritual lessons. You can't physically see and hold and touch them. But they are there, and they are some of the most real lessons that we could learn while we're here, is to become whole and to open ourselves up again, step by step, even if it's just with dreams at first. Even if it's just noticing something out of the corner of your eye and saying, oh wait, that was weird. Because that trains your brain, that trains your consciousness to be, hey, we want to pay attention to those things. And then more and more and more and more, you'll start seeing them and knowing them, and they'll become more real to you because your brain has been trained, right? Your body has been trained to accept those things and to undo the programming that we were taught that those are just imagination. When really, that could have been a spirit. That could have been a loved one. That could have been a guide. That could have been a fairy. That could have been anything, right? Because there is so much to this world, and honestly to the world's plural, you know, the different planes and everything, than just us humans. Where there's so much more than just this physical reality that we can't see. You know, we are most likely the minority when it comes to the different beings and energies and powers in this universe and just on this plane, right? Most of it is most likely invisible to us because it's spirit, because it vibrates at different energies or different frequencies, and we can see it in bursts. But to really tune into this world and fully tune into ourselves and learn these lessons, we need to heal that feminine energy within all of us, especially those of us that are male, like dominant, and you know, like physically, not just physically males, but that energy of masculine dominance, right? We need to balance ourselves out. We need to bring back that feminine, and we need to heal that energy within us that says, you know what, it's okay to feel. It's okay to have emotion. It's okay to process. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to share. And it's okay to have and acknowledge psychic abilities. And with that, we can move forward as a people, as a society, as a planet, as a species, as a race, and really make some positive changes and some positive growth in this thing that we call reality. So, yeah, that's the message. And I hope you all have a good eclipse. I hope, you know, nothing crazy happens. Take it easy, right? It's a full moon, so emotions will be a little heightened as always, but it should be pretty smooth sailing. It's a moon in Taurus. The moon loves being there. It's supported by Jupiter, who does well there. You know, it's all good things. You know, process the emotions, remember those dreams, and let's build our psychic abilities. All right, thank you so much for coming. As always, there'll be links down below for the cards used, for any birth chart stuff. If you want any readings, personal readings, that's all down there. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.